these guys right here from Harlem made us dress different, talk different, walk different, rap different, all the way in Canada. So please, the pride of New York to me, make some motherfucking noise for
to be in the top 5.
If you're not putting Drake in the top 2 of all time, like what are we gonna do? We're gonna keep putting shade on this.
What I did for Nas probably never been done for him in his life. He's never been that viral at all, ever. Ever. He's never been talked about like this ever in his life.
Now, has Nas reached out to you?
You did. The last time he was in some shit like this where people were comparing when him and Jay was beating on him. Drake had the same type of run, if not more phenomenal than Dre in this present era.
He did.
We've never seen nothing like that.
Drake just jumped into the mess after Jim Jones claimed he's better than Nas. And Drake's reason for backing him is petty on a whole new level. Drake thought everything was smooth between him and Nas, until Pusha T dropped a bomb revealing that Nas is hopping on the new Clips album. That one move had Drake fuming. Instead of letting it slide, Drake straight up picked a side, and it's Jim Jones. And while most of the industry kept their distance from Jim after he disrespected a legend like Nas, Drake did the total opposite. He leaned all the way in. Now Jim's out here wildin', screaming from the rooftops that Drake is the best rapper alive. Better than Nas, better than Jay-Z, better than every legend in the game. And that ain't even the craziest part. Jim's also stepping in to defend Drake in his messy legal fight with UMG. Yup, Drake's suing his own label over letting Kendrick take shots at him on Not Like Us. Everybody in the industry clowned Drake for dragging the beef into a courtroom just because he caught an L in a rap battle. But Jim? He's standing tall behind Drake, saying the lawsuit is for the culture. Can you believe that? But now, people are asking, is this all just trolling? Are Drake and Jim that thirsty for attention? Or are they seriously convinced they're right and the rest of the world is just blind? Let's get into it. Because Jim really had the whole rap world heated when he said he's better than Nas. Even after all the backlash, Jim Jones doubled down, claiming he's the reason Nas went viral again for the first time in years. Seriously? But of course, hip-hop fans weren't having it.
I saw a clip on Instagram where a young kid was comparing you to Nas and saying that you got
That's my young boy.
big hits.
He's wild.
Yo, he looked to you. He learned how to wear the BB Simon belt from you. He got his swag. Like, how crazy is that? Because in my era, you know what I'm saying? Nas is like a god.
In my era too. I mean,
so to be compared,
let me
that young kid out.
he was young and we loved that he loved Jim Jones. I want you to break it down.
Let's break this down. Let's not get into that where we get into numbers and I gotta show you the statistics of what I've done. You heard to what other people was done. You heard them. You want to go to the Billboard entries, pull up Nas Billboard entries, then pull up my Billboard entries.
Listen, we can't compare the two. What I'm trying to tell you is
I want to go there.
Hold on.
I want to go down the line now because now we going down the line. He's a rapper and I'm a rapper.
Listen,
let's go statistically.
It feels great.
No, but I want to go statistically because when people be like,
I feel the same way. We all feel the same way.
And forget about the numbers. There's nothing that could. There's never is me. Putting me up against anybody, I'm taking me every time. Every time.
Okay, but let me say something though, Jim.
They flooded the comments, calling Jim's take straight up disrespectful. The idea of even putting Nas and Jim Jones in the same sentence had folks scratching their heads and laughing out loud. Jim versus Nas? Please. Most fans couldn't even believe it was a real debate. People didn't care that Jim's been in the game for over 20 years. The second he dared to compare himself to Nas, his whole legacy got tossed out the window. We're talking about a rapper who dropped Illmatic at just 20 years old and still gets Grammy nods 3 decades later. And when legends like RZA say Nas is a genius and call him the Bobby Fischer of MCs, you already know Jim set himself up for disaster. But instead of backing off, Jim is keeping the heat on. He's now teasing an upcoming interview with Angie Martinez. And from the looks of it, he's not done talking about Nas. He's even asking deep questions like, what does respect mean to you? Like, bro, you just disrespected one of the most respected names in the culture. Fans are getting tired of it fast. They're saying Jim's chasing clout like never before. One person commented, "Why is this man-child so obsessed with going viral? That's literally all I've heard from him lately." Another chimed in with, "How do you lose a rap beef you started?" And the other guy never even said a word back. And that's the wildest part. Nas hasn't said a single thing. No diss, no response, nothing. It's clear Nas doesn't even see Jim as worth acknowledging. Just when everyone thought this whole mess would finally fizzle out, Drake jumped in, completely uninvited. This drama had nothing to do with him. But of course, Drake had to stir the pot. Not only did he back Jim Jones, but he also threw slick shade at Nas while doing it. Drake posted up a photo of himself chilling with Jim, and then Jim slid into the comments with, "Men have respect, mafia rules. A toast to the last ones left." Like, seriously? Fans went off in the comments, saying this just proved Drake and Jim might be the two corniest rappers in the game right now. People weren't buying that this was about loyalty. They're saying Drake jumped in just to spark more chaos, something he's been doing a lot lately to keep his name buzzing. We all know Drake lives for drama, especially when he can play the villain and soak up the attention. But here's why Drake really sided with Jim. The two actually go way back, and Jim is one of the very few people in the industry who publicly backed Drake during that brutal beef with Kendrick. After Drake sued Universal Music Group for letting Kendrick drop Not Like Us, Jim called it a power move and said Drake was doing what had to be done. Then Jim popped up in an interview with Angela Yee, claiming Drake's done more for hip-hop than most rappers alive. But wait, it gets even crazier. Jim later said Drake isn't just one of the best rappers right now. He's the greatest rapper of all time. He even called Drake his spirit animal. No joke. Drake, on his side, has always shown love to Dipset. He shouted out Harlem more than once, and even performed with Cameron, Jewels, and Jim on stage.
Respect is definitely something you gotta earn. Respect is something I might not get from everybody, but you're definitely not gonna disrespect.
Yo, we should have Jim on the pod. And then the next day, Jimmy's viral.
This is one of the ways of marketing that is working right now in today's music.
Hi, baby! Where are you at with marriage now? How did you feel about Sierra running up on you at the, you invited?
I know anything Sierra's gonna say is gonna go super viral next to me. I'll take it. I know how to turn my negatives into a positive. Man, I didn't know how many people love Nas.
Back in 2023, Jim crowned Drake as the honorary 5th member of Dipset. So, yeah, they've definitely got history. But let's be real. Drake backing Jim in this Nas situation ain't really about brotherhood or loyalty. Nope, there's something else behind it. Just as this drama was heating up, Pusha T and Malice dropped the official track list for the upcoming Clips album. And guess who's featured on it? Nas. That right there is what triggered Drake to make his move. So instead of falling back, Drake saw the perfect moment to throw shade, not just at Nas, but at Pusha T and Malice too. This wasn't about respect, it was about revenge. This is featured on track 12 of the new Clips album titled Let God Sort 'Em Out Chandeliers Now, and it's already stirring up questions. No one knows yet if this is a diss track or who it's aimed at, but in a recent Rolling Stone interview, Pusha T described the track as sharp and admitted he's been chasing a Nas feature for years. That alone has fans buzzing. The Clips album isn't holding back either. Another track, Chains and Whip, features none other than Kendrick Lamar, and the entire project is produced by Pharrell. So when you put those pieces together, Pusha, Kendrick, and Pharrell all on the same album, it's no surprise fans are whispering about what this really means for Drake.
Nas a Bobby Fischer of MCs. Because Bobby Fischer was the youngest MC youngest chess master
player, right.
to master. He became a grand master at the youngest age.
Right.
There's a few that beat him over the years,
right.
but he was the first one at that age to be, and Nas was a master at the age of 16, 17, where most of us, because you met us, we was already in our 20s.
Right.
He was at the age of 17, 18, dope as somebody that was 25, 30.
Right.
That's true. And serious too. He's a.
Now, here's the twist. Nas never had any public beef with Drake. In fact, they've both shown each other respect over the years. But teaming up with this trio, Pusha, Kendrick, and Pharrell, makes it look like Nas just picked a side. Some people might say that's reaching, but insiders close to Drake are saying otherwise. He's reportedly not happy about Nas appearing on this project. And the reason? It all comes down to Pusha T. If there's one rapper Drake has consistently avoided clapping back at, it's definitely Pusha. Let's not forget, this is the same dude who dropped the story of Adidon and exposed Drake's hidden child, flipping his whole public image upside down. Drake tried to act unbothered, but we all saw how shook he really was. So now, seeing Nas link up with a known Drake rival like Pusha on a project that also includes Kendrick, who's been torching Drake lately, it's got people thinking this wasn't just a creative collab, it might be a subtle alliance. Even though Nas and Drake never had real beef, not even behind the scenes from what we know, this move definitely shifted the energy. And with Drake already feeling the pressure, Nas teaming up with his biggest rivals might have just pushed him over the edge. One thing we do know, Nas has always had major love for Kendrick Lamar. Right after Kendrick dropped his latest album, GNX, riding the wave of that brutal victory over Drake, Nas posted the album cover on Instagram with a caption that said it all. "Always inspired by my brother Kendrick Lamar, keeping the essence of this ish alive and at the forefront. Salute, King." Fast forward to 2025, and now Nas is teaming up with Pusha T on a project that also features Kendrick? That's not just a random collaboration. That's a bold statement. And you better believe Drake took it personally. Sources close to him are saying he feels flat out betrayed, especially since he's always shown public respect for Nas. But now, he sees Nas as siding with his enemies. And this brings us right back to that Jim Jones mess. A lot of fans believe this is why Drake suddenly popped out in full support of Jim. Not because he believes Jim is better than Nas, but because Nas linked up with Pusha and Kendrick, and that made Drake feel boxed out. If Drake senses even the slightest threat to his spotlight, he's not staying quiet. He's gonna toss in some slick shots, whether it's his beef or not. Fans are calling it for what it is, straight up petty. Instead of dropping music and letting the bars do the talking, Drake's out here playing loyalty games and shading legends just because they're working with his rivals. Nas didn't diss him. Kendrick didn't name drop him again. But because they're cooking something with Pusha, boom, Drake jumps into a whole new drama. And honestly, it lines up. Drake's whole career has been built on image control, alliances, and staying at the center of every conversation. He surrounds himself with people who won't push back, and the second someone does, he cuts them loose or throws them under the bus. So yeah, no one's shocked he jumped into the Jim versus Nas fire. But let's be real. The internet's way more hyped about the real drop, that Clips album. With Pusha T, Kendrick, Nas, and Pharrell all on the same project, this could be the most explosive rap album of the year. Drake better start prepping those bars, because this storm is just getting started. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Juice Alert for all the wildest updates in hip-hop. Catch you in the next one!